Hello. Almost forgot to unmute my mic. I wonder how long I could just stream with my loading screen on. Sorry about the late start there. We are running around like chickens with our head cut off this morning, working on stuff. Speaking of stuff, we are working on fun stuff. We're working on weird stuff. I'm not even sure what all we're working on today, but I'll give you a little sneak preview about what Tony and I are working on. Maybe we'll go back to the 2D project we were working on last week. We probably will. But I'm gonna play some music. Probably not this chill vibes. Let's do some Final Fantasy VIII soundtrack, and then we'll get into some coding. I'll show stuff off. It's been a busy week. It feels like it's blown by. I feel like I just streamed yesterday, so it's kind of nice to get back into what I was working on last week, but I have not touched it since then, so continuity for you guys, but it might take me a second to get back into it. Let me fix this light real fast. Ta-da! And let's see if we can get stuff rolling. Let me just run on over here, make sure my game audio is working, or stream audio. Human, hello, hello, hello. I missed your stream yesterday. I've heard rumors on the grapevine that your playtest is out. I've actually downloaded it. I have not played it yet, but I was actually going to ask you, do you prefer I could play it on stream sometime and give feedback that way, or I could just like play it on my own and give you some in-depth feedback, whatever I think there. Whatever you prefer there. I don't know how early it is. I only briefly saw your message of like stuff is broken in some places. You know how it goes. Yeah. I have it downloaded. I'm ready to play. I'm traveling a little bit over the next week, so maybe I'll load it on my laptop if it can be played like with a touchpad. But I'll definitely play it and give you some feedback. How's it going? Have you had many people play it? You excited to finally have that milestone out? Or are you like me? As soon as you push that submit button, you're like, all right, what's next? Gotta take time to chill. Alrighty. I was waiting to see if something would execute correctly, but it doesn't look like it will. So what I'm going to do is quickly clean up this project before I share my screen. Well, maybe it's going to resume. One sec. We're working on fun stuff, and I want to make sure it works before I show it off on stream. But, yeah, we'll give it this 1 second. It's a play test, I would say, because there's still way too much stuff missing to call it a demo. That's fair. Is it... Yeah, I guess I've seen you working on it on stream, but I haven't like put together in my head, like visualized the actual what you do like moment to moment, other than running from scary monsters and collecting stuff and bringing it back. So it'll be fun to check out. I'm excited to see it. All right, let's jump on over here. So we will get back to this project. Where did it go? Unity. This project that we were working on last week, painting a 2D town for our Elixir Emporium 2D demo. But I'll show off what we're working on first, because we probably are not going to work too much on this on stream, because it's very like wait and see what happens type thing. But could be cool. You could explain it a bit, but I think it would make more sense if you're running as blind as possible. I'm happy to do that. Quick question. Is it gonna work well if I play on laptop with like a touchpad? Is my main question. Because I'll be traveling with my laptop. I can also wait until I get back to play it on desktop with like mouse. But I am comfortable playing on touchpad. I actually played StarCraft for many years on touchpad for fun fact. But depends on how powerful your laptop is. I think it should be good. This is my work laptop, so should probably be good. I do all my Unity development when I'm traveling on it, so we shall see. But yeah, I'm excited to see it. I'm very cool. Congratulations on the release. There shouldn't be any situations where you need to react fast or anything. Wow, spoilers. No jump scares, no quick time button press. What are they called? Quick time actions. But yeah, that's super cool. Do you want to see something that could be cool if it works? We don't jump scares. Yes. All right. I know my wife, the Cozy Biscuit, who will probably be lurking here later, she's been itching to play. Well, her viewers have been itching to get her to play a horror game. So neither of us really play many horror games, and I've played a few more than her, but if I like it, I might throw it her way too. Horror game. Hey Kels, how's it going? Just in time to hear me talking about Cozy. Let me talk about what is on this screen right now. You might see some chat over here going on. You might see some code. You're like, what the heck? This is Python. Truciv absolutely loathes Python with every fiber of his being. Why is he writing Python? And the answer is because I have to. We've basically built a server here. Well, stepping back at Chroma Golem, the last like 2 years we've built a bunch of AI stuff in games that we've shown off, like for gameplay, like generating stuff on the fly, generating game data, having NPCs react, all that cool stuff. The thing that we haven't really poked around too much at is using AI more on the dev side. So having it like QA for you, having it fix bugs for you, having it implement features for you, things like that. So this last week, we've built a very, very basic prototype for a server that runs, that you can talk to, and it has access to go do things in Unity for you. So this chat right now is writing a bunch of code, adding scripts to the project. I told it to make Pac-Man, so this is... I generated a prompt for it saying, hey, give me a game design document for Pac-Man that I could pass off to a freelancer. And then I pasted that in here, and it broke it down into, all right, let's go look in your scene, see what you have already. Let's get like the actual scene file so we can get all the details about everything. And then let's start creating scripts. We got our game manager. Not the best interface for looking at this code, but I can go over to the Unity project. Where did it go? Too many windows open. So it has written all these scripts so far. I think we have one error still that it's working out. So whenever it gets compilation errors, it's gonna get that feedback back and be like, all right, I need to go edit some files. Let's fix that error. But it's got a bunch of code. I have not actually looked into the code that it's written, but if we take a look at like fruit spawner, it looks like it creates a coroutine that waits randomly and then spawns some fruit, I suppose, as long as the game is active. So that seems reasonable. Fruit works by hiding after a while. It has an eat function that I assume the player is going to call when they collide with it. I don't know what it's going to do with the audio. We don't have any audio generation hooked up yet, but the cool thing about this is that we can hook up multiple tools independently. So right now we have one tool that is Unity, so it knows how to operate Unity effectively. So it can add scripts, it can add other sorts of files, like it does the input mapping. It can go add objects to the scene, attach components to those objects, modify properties on those components, a few other things, but it's basically controlling Unity for us in the front end, and it's going through this chat over here that is this kind of one-shot, create this whole game from a prompt. Theoretically, it should work. I haven't been able to get it working quite yet, but it looks like it's making some progress. And you've heard about this Unity before. Heck yeah. Theoretically, if it all creates something that we can play, then we can play it a little bit, give some feedback over chat, and be like, hey, can you add this? Can you fix this? And it'll keep working in Unity, adding these changes. So this is a very simple like interface. We've kind of used this Cursor IDE as a server for hosting this MCP server right now, which is basically what talks to Unity and also what talks to whatever model we're using in the cloud. Like right now we're using Claude. And so the big model in the cloud is what does all the reasoning, and then we built this interface to let that model control Unity. Next up, we're going to add in a tool that lets it control like Blender, so it can reason about like, oh, I need to add this tree. I don't have a tree model. Let's open Blender. Let's create a tree. Let's export it. Let's import it into Unity, and then let's use it in Unity. We're going to get some image generation working on our API soon, so we can like generate sprites and stuff from it. But I mean, I just kind of wanted to, while it's running in the background, it does take quite a long time. But I wanted to kind of poke around some of the scripts that it's running. And I noticed we're getting a few errors, so it'll keep generating code and have errors because it knows like sometimes it'll reference like classes that hasn't generated yet, and then it'll use those references to define the new classes. So I'm not too worried about the errors in the meantime because it's supposed to fix them all, but we will keep going. Looks like code is executing correctly. I was having issues with that right before the stream, so I think that has been fixed. Looks like it's adding simple UI for score and lives. With the Final Fantasy VIII background music, it seems like the code is the final boss. It kind of is. Like, so it's kind of working for me. Like, it hasn't really worked for me quite yet. I won. But it's been working for Tony for days now. Let me see if I can grab the video that he did. So he built Snake, which the output of that spit this out as a working game that you control Snake with WASD. It tracks your score, it makes your tail longer, it generated all the sprites, all the controls. Oh, is this loud? Oh, sorry. I didn't know. Oh, I shouldn't have Discord sound coming through. That's concerning. Oh, I do have... Well, no, I don't know why. Let me just mute desktop audio real fast. Okay, hopefully that's fine. But yeah, I mean, he told it to make Snake with like one line saying, hey, can you make Snake that is fun? And it generated all this over like 20 minutes. So it's a good start. We're trying to get some like very simple demos building with like one-shot generation here, but kind of the goal, there's kind of two goals here of, one, we want to be able to like let people who can't make games make very simple like Flash style games with it, that I think would be pretty cool to play. But two, it would be really nice to have that more embedded in Unity, so we can maybe talk to it over here instead of in a separate server. And whenever we get like an error, we can click and say like, hey, can you explain this error? Like explain the fix, do the fix for me. Can you add this feature, et cetera, et cetera. Or for a lot of like mundane tasks, kind of say like, hey, I need to add these 12 sprite sheets and cut them up in a certain way. Can you like do all that for me? And as long as we build the right tools for interacting with Unity, I think it'll work. So we shall see. Looks like it's... Ooh, we did get an error on running some code. So we have a couple different tools that it can use. One of them is it'll write a script and then add that script to the project. But we also have one that's executing Unity code. So it'll generate some code that needs to run like in the actual Unity process. And we actually inject that into Unity, compile it with the Unity assemblies so it has access to the project. And then it'll run, so it can do things like create game objects and add components and stuff that you would normally do from editor scripts. So that's how we're having it control like what's in the scene. But it got an error here. Unity engine.ui is a namespace, but use like a type. So hopefully it's going to fix that. So it created a script instead. Now it's adding that script to the project. And I mean, it just goes and goes. So I pay like $20 a month to Cursor for unlimited generations. And hopefully it'll work. But I think it's a very cool prototype over working on it for like a week and seeing what it can make. I think it will be pretty cool. So we are filling out all our scripts. I notice we have a few what looks like duplicate scripts. I wonder why. Pellet and pellet controller. Let's see what the difference is between those. Because it sure feels like they'd be the same thing, but they're both components. They both have points associated with them. Like we still need to work a little bit on the reasoning and implementation and stuff, but it's kind of cool to see it all like write itself. So this has a blink effect. So I wonder if we look at a pellet in our scene, if it'll have both of these components or if it'll only have one. Okay, so it hasn't added the components yet. It's still just setting up the scripts. Simple game UI could not be found. Have we built that? We have. But yeah, this is a good example of like I said we would probably get back to working on this on stream because a lot of what's going on here is just like waiting for it to generate stuff and then waiting for it to put all those pieces together, then waiting for it to work through all the errors that it gets. So we're up to like 4 errors, but the errors that we had earlier seem to be gone. So it's adding these right now and it's getting back errors that it's going to try and fix over here. So this code was executed correctly. It basically finds our Pac-Man object and then probably attaches code to it. We should probably get a better interface for looking at the code being run. Congratulations, we've successfully created a basic Pac-Man clone in Unity. Well, just in time. I am not sure that I believe that that's true, but I'll just say that all of this so far, wrote all this code with a bunch of errors, 15 errors, but we haven't done any human intervention. And I am sure that if we press play right now, nothing would work, obviously because errors, but I kind of want to go through and just quickly like... It's pretty obvious what the fixes are on a lot of these. Like we have a vector2 position. We're trying to use position.z. So we can either change this to like a vector3 or just use transform.position here. So I want to fix a couple errors and I want to see like what the output is. So I guess today on stream we're making Pac-Man. Sorry, Nintendo or whoever the owner of that is. But let's work through some of these errors. It definitely should have fixed them if everything worked correctly. But maybe what we can do is say, wait, what is this? This is concerning. We should have this package installed. Could not load the file assembly C#. NuGet. Manage NuGet packages. Assembly C#. Should be installed. Roslyn. Where is this being referenced? But yeah, Human, how did the stream go yesterday? I didn't get a chance to see it, but did you play the playtest on stream? You just continuing on working? I wish this would open up where in the editor we reference this, but I guess C#. More than a thought. Right. Let's do assembly C#. Yesterday was short and chill. Did some bug fixes mostly. Nice. Yeah, that's the great benefit of finally putting something out. Gotta chill. Get to chill. Had to attend a workshop earlier that day and started my stream 3 hours after my regular schedule and only did 2.5 hours of streaming, I think. Not too bad. I feel like time for me lately has kind of like compressed. But did you also start your stream last week 3 hours later, or was that just this week? That's crazy if it was just this week, because that feels like so long ago when it was probably yesterday, I guess. Just this week and next week too. Oh God. Okay. Wow. Yeah. Well, maybe next week I'll be able to catch more of your stream then if you're starting it late. Maybe I'll finally get first. I wonder if we just clear our console, if this will, this error will go away. I feel like yeah, it will. Okay. So these ones, ghost become frightened. Okay, let's look at our ghost controller. Let's see. We don't have anything for becoming frightened. I wonder if we can get that to generate. If we go over here and say, it looks like ghosts should have a become frightened method, but don't. Can you add that? We'll find out. To get first, you have to be fast. J Bunny mostly takes it after me being live for 5 seconds. 5 seconds is so fast, dang. I feel like we'll see. Do you have Discord notification? Wow. Yeah, 5 seconds is quite the difference from have I been streaming for 28 minutes already? Dang. All right, well, congratulations. What even was I saying? Do you have Discord notifications set up for when you start streaming? I might have to follow a channel if not. But I'll get it one of these days. You watch. All right, so we asked for it to make a become frightened method. So it's going to read this file. Cool. And then it's going to also read the Pac-Man controller file, interestingly. So now it's going to update the ghost controller script to add this method and its related functionality. We'll see if that works. But congratulations on first. Good job. Good job. While that works, we can work through some more errors, maybe in a different script. So here, let's just do transform.position again. So we get that Z coordinate. Very suspicious that does the ghost also have a check for teleport, or what did I update earlier? Oh yeah, I guess they do. And that's apparently not what I updated earlier, but I guess they can both teleport, so. All right, down to 8 errors. Let's check in on this. It's editing the existing script. I will edit the ghost controller script to add the become frightened method, related fields, and modify the movement behavior when frightened. Cool, cool, cool. Here's the new source code for this file. All right, sure. Looks like, let's hold off on updating these ghost errors because I think this is going to override the ghost controller class. And apparently it's also going to update the Pac-Man controller. So we'll see if it overrides the change we just made for the teleport. I bet it will. So really we're just we're just kind of seeing what works and what doesn't here. I don't know if this will actually work. But we're also going to need to make this direction property here internal. Looks like it updated the ghost controller. It's updating Pac-Man now. Cool, cool, cool. I am curious still why we have both Pac-Man and Pac-Man controller. And apparently also Pac-Man move. Pac-Man move final. Oh no. We've created the human naming scheme of underscore final parentheses 2 on our files. Oh no. All right. The human naming scheme. Do you do that too, human? Where you have like, here's your document. You say this is underscore formatted final 2 final 2. It's an endless cycle. I see my face is kind of cutting off this chat, so let me just move this around. There we go. And I'll close this. I have a very bright light in that part of the screen, so I can't see what's up there. There's probably a button to collapse this toolbar, but I can't see it. Like everyone, pretty much, I guess. I did this when wrapping up my thesis. Yeah, I wrote a fiction book originally. Well, I wrote the first fiction book I wrote. I definitely had like 12 different versions because I'd finish it, I'd revise it again, but then I had to like format it for the Kindle, I had to format it for X, Y, and Z in different ways and do all these different things that I was like, all right, this is done now, this is done now, this is done now. And looking back, it is absolutely a mess. All right, it's still working on that bug. We probably could have fixed it ourselves much faster if we would have just fixed it ourselves. But I do want to see if it will actually manage to fix it on its own. Pac-Man controller could not be found. Pac-Man controller. I bet it's failing because we have other syntax errors in the project. And so when it adds or updates like Pac-Man controller, the project doesn't rebuild because there's compilation errors in other projects or in other files. So it's not able to reference the new thing. So we will give it a second and then we'll probably jump in and fix it ourselves. It's creating a new game manager script. I don't think that's what we want. Game controller, game manager. Yeah, that's a little rough. And none of that is in the scene yet, I think. We do have a pretty nice looking maze though, I think. We'll see. I mean, they do have sprite renderers, but I don't understand why we can't see the color. Okay, they apparently just don't have sprites. So maybe I'll end up adding those sprites later, or I'll ask for it to add sprites or something. But we are just trying to push and see what it can do and what it can't do. Game manager could not be found. Right, because I think that's still the compilation error thing of we have these other issues. Wow, that's a lot of bugs. Right, because it overwrote game manager. So it needs to be able to recompile the whole project in order to reference the new classes it's adding. I wonder if we should add like Git as a tool that it can use. So we can revert things, we can see previous versions, we can have it check in new things. Scripts are added to the project, but Unity hasn't compiled them yet. Yes. We just need to fix the other compilation errors, which I guess this doesn't have access to right now. Yeah, that's a good thing we need to add. Let's do this. Jump to present to make sure there's nothing I'm exposing in this Discord window. If we can get a list of current errors from Unity, that go a long way towards fixing things. Also, looks like there are a lot of problems caused by adding a class, but the project doesn't compile due to other compilation errors, and so when it tries to use that class, it errors because it hasn't been able to compile it in. Cool. So, we even have the ghost names: Blinky, Pinky, Inky, Clyde, Ghost 1, Ghost 2, Ghost 3, and Ghost 4. Wow. Okay. I don't know what approach it has taken, but apparently things are now executing. We probably have a lot more duplicate files, but maybe it'll work. We will see. Probably not though, because our game manager is pretty rough. Can we just add an instance property? Get these to work. Cool. Game active we don't have. Let's just say public bool game active is true, I guess. Let's go make this internal. It's possible that some of these will be overridden, but I feel like we'll just appreciate getting some errors out of the way. Cooking some tea. Good luck. Have fun. Yeah, it sure feels like we just like overrode our game manager that all these scripts were depending on. So probably shouldn't have done that. But I think if we have access to like the current compilation errors, then we'd be able to propose a change to that script, see that it caused errors, and then revert that script or change it in a different way. So let's do this. Let's say game manager eat pellet. Is power pellet active? Right, because that's when you eat the big fruit, I guess it is. Pellet? How the heck do you spell pellet? Oh, pellet active is false. We need to add a eat pellet. But I mean, how exciting is Pac-Man though? Like, if we're gonna put in all this effort to get this building, do we really want to do it for like Pac-Man, or do we want to do like something more fun? I only did Pac-Man because it would have like a very clear, is this correct or not? But now that we're like adding in code ourselves, I might want to just do something more fun. So I get to do something that I rarely get to do in most of the projects that I work in. Let's do this. Let's say script is now fully functional and includes all the requested features. Hurrah! Let's just delete the scripts folder. Delete it all. Ta-da! All of our compilation errors are gone. Can you imagine? Let's also delete everything. Well, I do want to attach sprites to these real fast. Maybe not the .NET sprite, but I wanted to see kind of how the maze looked. But sure looks like grid isn't looking too hot. Got Pac-Man down here, ghosts. Like everything's missing their sprites for whatever reason. I guess, yeah, we haven't generated sprites for them, so I guess that kind of makes sense. We've got our different colored ghosts. We've got pellets. Maybe we can see those. And if I hadn't deleted all the scripts, or I guess if it actually worked, then I could have pressed play and played it, but I just wanted to poke around and see how it looked. So let's do something less intense. Let's just maybe take it a little bit, a smaller step at a time. So we are going to new chat, make sure that everything here is deleted. What is a fun thing to build? Can you make me a little platformer that's 2D and side-scrolling, where I have to jump from platform to platform? Maybe? So it's going to analyze our scene. It's going to see that we have nothing, hopefully. Run tool, right. I do have to approve the interactions with Unity every time, because I feel like that's probably a good idea to not just let it run wild, especially in existing projects. But so we're going to add a player controller. The end goal is like you can add this to an existing project and it can reason over what you have and get stuff working. But it's a lot easier to build like the start something from scratch logic than continuously reasoning over broken code. So we're starting over here. Let's see, this is creating a player controller class. Let's make sure it's on the newest input scheme. We will poke at that code. Reload. Let's close everything. Keep this running. So it's going to create a platform generator script. Sure. Let's look at our player controller. Has rigid body, sprite renderer. It's going to try and have an animator. Using the new input system. Has some ground check. Jump with space, but only when on the ground. Flip the sprite based on going left or right. And update our animator with our speed and our grounded. Fixed update is going to just keep us moving in whatever direction we try and move in. Cool. Let's look at this platform generator. At game start, it's going to destroy all existing platforms, create platforms from a platform prefab. We'll see if that gets built. Let's keep this running. It's making a camera follow script for the player. That makes sense. So it'll place these platforms. We always get one static platform here, I guess. And then we generate some random platforms around it. The tea was cooked. What kind of tea is it? And I think I am also cooked on getting this project working. I gave up on Pac-Man. It was too ambitious to generate in an hour. So our current prompt is, can you make me a little platformer that's 2D and side-scrolling where I have to jump from platform to platform? And we're going to see what it spits out. Peppermint tea? At least it's not onion tea, I guess. But I don't know if I'm like allergic to peppermint or what, but peppermint burns my throat, my nose. Like, not the biggest fan, but I do really like the very like pungent, flavorful teas. And I respect that peppermint tea is it punches you in your face, which I want in my tea. I don't want to just drink hot water. That sounds allergic. For me, it's simply tasty. Oh, okay. Well, that's good to know. I've also wondered for a very long time if I'm allergic to like pineapples and banana peppers because they like make my throat bump. This sounds bad to say. They make my throat bumpy and it burns a little bit, but I can still breathe and stuff. But banana peppers are so good. I always get them on my like Subway sandwiches. Let's see what other scripts it's got. We've got our camera follow script. So it's going to point at the target, which will probably be our player. We'll see if it sets that up correctly. And then it's just going to follow on the x-axis, so just left and right, not when the player jumps. Cool. And we smooth out that position. That makes sense. We also have our game manager script, which has our player prefab, which is still yet to create. Start position, fall threshold, probably for dying. Current player, interestingly. We get our singleton pattern. We restart the game if you fall, or if you press R. When you start the game, we put our player at the start position, instantiate them from that prefab, and set up our camera. Okay, that all makes sense. That happens to me when I eat apples, so I know what you mean, as weird as it sounds. Yeah, I mean, like, it doesn't feel bad. They taste real good. It's just like, you can kind of feel it in the back of your throat. Let's see where this is at. It's got some errors. Cool. So it's going to try and fix them. Right. We still need to include the destroy immediate assembly. Let me paste that over to Tony. Here we go. One more assembly. We still need to link for execution. I guess that's not C# code. Let's not format it as such. Destroy immediate is the editor friendly destroy. So it might be somewhere weird. Cool. But we do get back that error, so hopefully it tries to do something else. Instantiating material due to calling renderer.material during edit mode. This will leak materials into the scene. You most likely want to use renderer.shared material instead. Okay, so do we do that? It executed with a minor material warning, but should have set up the scene correctly. Let's verify by looking at the scene file, or the scene context file. And let's finalize the platform generator to initialize the platform. So this code, let's copy this real fast if we can grab it. I want to look at that. Copy. Let's do the laziest thing we can do here and just say, where's my window? Format this code. So this is what's running in the Unity editor context. It's grabbing our platform generator, which should be this because it has the component on it. If it finds it, it sets all these properties, which it looks like it did. And then it's also going to grab the camera and set just make sure that it already has the camera follow component. So it has camera follow. It doesn't have a target yet on it though. And then the game manager is going to set that fault threshold. Okay, seems fine. And then we save the scene. I don't know that we want to allow it to, I mean, I guess we do. Let's go ahead and I feel like it has a lot of issues with the sprites still, but I guess we don't even have a player. Oh, right. We create the player at playtime, but did we create we did create a player prefab. Okay. It's got our player controller on it. It's got box collider, rigid body, sprite renderer. So I wonder if this, since we create the player at runtime, if it'll set that target when we press play. Will it work? It did. Would you look at that, Human? We didn't write any code at all. Nope. And we died. Okay, so when the game restarts, the player is not reset to their position. So let's go ahead and just we first thank our robot overlords and say when the game restarts, the player isn't back at the start. We're trying to build this in such a way that you don't need to describe the tech, like the implementation of what you need built. We want to provide, like, we want to let people playing the game say, like, hey, this isn't working. And so then it will fix that thing instead of, hey, you need to actually go reset that player's position on restart game. So here, it's reading the game manager class. It's reading the platform generator class. Curious why those, because it's probably just the game manager class. It's using don't destroy and load, but it's reloading the scene without properly destroying and recreating objects. We need to ensure the platforms get regenerated. Yeah, but we also need to make sure the player gets regenerated. I think the platforms were already working. This makes me so afraid of what might be created in 10 years or so. Yeah, I mean, it's kind of like, it's definitely like a potential paradigm shift but I think it'll be really cool for like letting more people make games. But I don't think like I think AI like image generation is a good parallel here of like artists are still being artists, and a lot of them are also using like AI generation in order to give them a baseline to work from. Like, oh, that's cool. That's like one side of it. But there's also so many people that are like creating art that couldn't otherwise create art. So like I imagine sites like Itch will probably like explode with like everyone being able to create games or create at least smaller versions of games. Um, I think a future that I've expected for a very long time is like the Netflix thing of like, oh, I want to watch this Netflix show, but I want to have it with different actors and like being able to say what actors you want, like what plot you want, and it generates a show for you. I think it's kind of similar with games. We'll see if somebody can be like, hey, I want to play a wizarding school game where I play as the teacher and I have to uncover a big secret about the school and then have it like play some game or make some game for you to play. But I think that it's a bit far off, but this does kind of have like a glimpse of what could be, at least like it's a different way of making games than doing it all in Unity, which is kind of crazy. Restart functionality has been fixed. Here's what I changed. We modified the game manager to remove don't destroy unload, add a reference to the platform generator, improve the restart game method to directly restart the game without reloading the scene, properly clean up objects, change some platform generator stuff, enhance camera follow, and then added the player tag. Okay, so let's just press play. Let's see if it actually worked, I guess. All right. I don't think that we can actually get to that platform, so that's an issue. But if we fall down and die, it does restart. So there is that. Okay, we're getting there. I don't really know if Itch is going to allow AI only generated games. Yeah, I mean, that's a good point. Like, also, there's a whole bunch of, like, all the traditional sites are really just saying, like, hey, we don't want AI only generated stuff, which is cool. But yeah, there probably will be new platforms that allow it that will probably take off as well. Amazon is already crowded with this AI generated children's books. Yeah, I mean, that's also like, that's a huge problem for sure. And it's just like when you give people the tools to like the floor of quality is much lower, is really what it is. Like anybody can go generate a children's book now and put it on Amazon, versus before, like you had to put in work to make that children's book, and then you had your, like, it was a thing you were invested in, and if it wasn't good, you probably didn't publish it. All right, let's say 2 issues to fix. The cube rotates. It shouldn't. So the ground check doesn't work, and we can't always get to the next platform. Can you increase jump height and also make sure all platforms are reachable from the previous platform? We'll see if it can fix that. These markets are saturated so fast as of now. Yeah, I mean, they really are. And like the thing that we are missing that is kind of like the fix, because I think they'll continue getting more and more saturated in like every single market effectively, is the like discoverability and like recommendation stuff. Like it doesn't matter to me that Steam has hundreds of thousands of games or millions of games, because they surface the ones that are interesting to me. So to me, like, it's a very small set that I see. But when you saturate the market and don't have that sort of like recommendation algorithm, it makes it hard for people to find like the stuff they're actually interested in. Like I do a lot of writing, and I've always been very gung-ho on the fact that like even really bad writing, like there's people out there that would love whatever you've written there. Excuse me, fixing my chair. But like the problem with traditional like publishing is all the publishers are trying to publish a very specific type of writing or a very specific like quality bar, which is set for like the mainstream, most people will like this type thing. And so there's a lot of stories and stuff that never get published because they won't appeal to the mainstream. And the alternate reality there of if you did publish everything, the market would be absolutely saturated. Like nobody would be able to find what they actually wanted to read because most people like what's already published because that's why it was published. But if everything's published, you're like, how do I find what I want? So we've kind of got this like backwards thing now of people can self-publish everything, which is what happens on Amazon, but there's no like no filter, no recommendation algorithm, no piece there that's like saying, hey, you over there that really likes these sci-fi crime books about dogs and these themes and issues, like I found these books over here that you'd really, really like that like nobody else would like. I think it's just definitely a big shift. We'll see where it goes. But I think it is nice when more people can create art or things they're passionate about. It's just a matter of like, how do you prevent that from affecting the market? And I think the answer is like the distribution, the discoverability aspect of it, where they're not like saturating the market and making it harder for everybody else to find what they like. But I don't know everything, I guess, so we'll see. So we told it the cube rotates, so ground check doesn't work, and we can't always get to the next platform. So what it's doing is changing the player controller to prevent rotation and increase the jump height. Updating the platform generator to ensure all platforms are reachable. I'm curious how it does that. Let's do this. Format this code. I think I left an extra curly brace at the end, but I guess it's just going to override the whole file. So how's it going to calculate its horizontal position? I thought it might be just trying to use math of like the jump height. So height versus difference, basically. Random platform width, interesting. Calculate max jump height. Okay, sure. Let's run this tool. Timeout waiting for response after 30 seconds. I feel like that is fine. Oh, I see. I didn't press yes. All right, is fine. We'll see. So when this runs, we can press play and try again. Let's just press play and see if it works. Okay, platforms are now a lot more consistent. The cube doesn't rotate anymore, so we get our ground check and can actually jump properly. They definitely updated the logic on like how to make sure you can get to the next platform. Okay. Easy peas. And we still start over if we lose. Okay. And it looks like it's a different level every time, which is kind of nice. I think so. Right? Yeah, different level every time. Okay. Not sure. What should we add next, I guess? Oops, didn't mean to reject that, but I think we can just stop this where it's at. The thing I'm wondering about is if it's going to be possible to AI generate some AAA masterpieces like God of War or Grand Theft Auto or something in that direction. I think that eventually, probably, but more like eventually being like, I don't know, 20 plus years at least. But more likely, I think what's going to happen is it'll just make it easier for people to make AAA masterpieces where like you could generate the first like 50% or 80% of the game, and then you spend probably not like 20% of the time that you would have spent, but maybe half the time you would have spent, where you're then working and improving that and like stylizing that and adding what you want on top of this. And it's probably going to enable like smaller teams to build bigger games. So like instead of having however many thousand people worked on God of War, you have hundreds of people working on God of War, or you have thousands of people still working on it, and instead of God of War, it's like the entire trilogy worth of God of... I don't think that's actually a trilogy, but like 3 times the size and scale and scope or something like that. But I think it'll definitely help with producing those things. I don't think it will just AI generate the whole thing anytime soon, though. At least from working on it from this perspective. Let's go ahead and... Can we add enemies? I don't know what kind of enemies it'll make, but let's see. I was just going to say, can we make it harder? But I'm assuming it would probably just change the platforms or something. So maybe enemies are more interesting. So it's adding an enemy class. Let's see what that does. And yeah, again, this is like a stopgap right now, a placeholder for an actual interface in Unity to talk to this server. So I need to like go approve tasks, and it's hard to like go jump over to Unity and see what's going on with the actual files. But it'll be something that we improve later if this picks up, I think. So looks like it adds a enemy class that patrols either horizontally or vertically. And it looks like it has some collision logic for when it touches the player. The player can jump on its head and it will take damage and bounce the player up. Or if the player hits it from the side, the player takes damage. We don't have a player health component yet. I assume that, yeah, that's what it's adding now. And then take damage is pretty standard. Die just destroys the object. We have a gizmos bit for visualizing the patrol path, interestingly. Okay, let's look at our player health script. Let's also make sure this is still good to go. All right, player health. It still has a lot of issues with like optimization stuff because we're just finding these objects in the scene, but it's probably fine for now. It's going to try and add a UI health bar. Interesting. Flag for whether the player is invincible with an invincibility timer. Okay. And we blink if we are invincible. Okay, I don't know how we become invincible, but interesting. Take damage, update health bar. Just does a fill amount on like a slider or an image or something. What is this? An image, okay. And then triggers restart if we lose all of our health. Okay, so I assume next it's probably gonna set up that image. Oh, it's gonna have an enemy spawner, okay. Let's look at that. Like, this isn't the most fun game, but it is kind of crazy to just like watch it write all this code. Like, I used to do a lot of competitive coding, so a lot of hackathons, a lot of like coding challenges, especially like timed ones. I competed in the Facebook Cup once, and I think I got like 4th or 5th. I don't remember exactly, but that's like thousands and thousands of people. They give you a challenge at like this specific time, and the first X amount of people to solve it within this % correctness move on to the next stage. And it went on for like a month, I think. It'd be very fun to do this sort of system for like a challenge like that. Like, not fun from a like I'm just going to use AI to beat people, but more fun from just like trying to see if it'd be able to do it. Or like if I pick a random like game jam or something and not submit to it, but like have the prompt and be like, hey, what game will you make from this prompt, this game jam's theme? Like, here's the rules, and have it see what it makes and then play that. I think that would be like really fun for me to like see that game made. Were there any prizes for the Facebook Cup? The prize was an interview at Facebook, which I did, and I did not end up working at Facebook. So I think there were prizes for like the top 1 or like maybe top 2. There was like a cash prize of, I think it was a significant amount. Let's do this Facebook Cup prizes. But I remember the main, I guess it's called the Hacker Cup now. The main prize was just getting an interview at Facebook where they like flew me out. I rode in a limo to the interview and then hung out on campus all day. Oh, interesting. In the 2024 Hacker Cup, we allow you to compete in the human division or in the AI division, in which all your solutions must be written by a computer. See, that's exactly what I would love for, like, it would be fun if I got this working, like this system that we're building that is building this game. If we could put this out and then have like a game jam where everybody makes games in this, and then just like everybody plays each other's games, and you see all the AI division or whatever of everyone made, could be cool. A limo. So what happened? You didn't want the job, or they didn't want me? They did not want me. I was only asked like 2 or 3 interview questions, and I absolutely borked the very first one. I'm not very good at interviewing. Actually, I think streaming has helped me a lot in like thinking through code as I'm writing it, but I struggle a lot with that, especially on like whiteboards. But one of my questions was like, it was a very theoretical, like, you have an infinite stream of zeros and ones coming in that never ends. How can you write an encoder to get at least like 50% reduction in how you store that stream? And like, I think I tackled it from the perspective of like, well, here's 5 or 6 different things you could do. I don't know how effective they would be. And just like didn't really dive into any specific answer, which I think kind of was the wrong way to approach that question. But they had some fun questions as well that I saw on like study guides that I didn't get asked, that were more like, here's a grid, write some AI to navigate through it in the most efficient way, and then sort what you found along the way, etc. But the questions I got were very like math heavy. Like, how do you prove that this has 50% storage reduction? And I am not that much of a math guy. So especially on a whiteboard when I can't like Google math things, it was a pretty rough interview, but I walked away thinking like, it was fine. But yeah, they didn't give me any feedback at all, and they didn't extend an offer, and I ended up working at Amazon instead. So all worked out. But I do think Meta would be really cool, or at least potentially interesting to work at. Maybe now. You worked at Amazon. This was way back like my senior year of college. So the Facebook Cup, or maybe it wasn't senior year, but Facebook Cup was for a full-time position after college, which probably would have been fun, but I ended up doing an internship at Amazon around the same time. So I don't think I could have done both, because it just like timelines of stuff. But yeah, I did 3 months at Amazon. I didn't particularly like working at Amazon, but it looks really good on a resume. So at least there's that. I think you never said this to me. Yeah, I mean, most of my friends that I play like Dota and stuff from, I met at Amazon, but I was happy to leave after my contract was up. Also sounds very good on stream. Oh, okay. Well, I mean, I worked in the like Amazon.com checkout process. I probably can say all this, but like my team was the cell phone team. Like Amazon sells cell phones and also sells like service, but they didn't have a checkout pipeline, and they couldn't use the normal checkout pipeline because they needed to also have all these fields for like, what do you want your phone number to be? And so the whole 3 months, I basically just recreated the existing checkout process with extra fields. And like the first month was basically all like presenting to other teams and getting permission to use their services and blah, blah, blah. So I didn't make anything cool. I just recreated what already existed and tweaked it. So it was fine. Hey, Macau, how's it going? What am I working on right now? We are working on, I guess indirectly, we're working on this game, which I'm going to press play and hope that it works. It should have enemies now. It's a little, wow, our player is so fat. But we have platforms. We have enemies that we can apparently just ignore because they walk off the cliffs. We should be able to jump on their heads. Yeah. And then we take damage also if we bump into them. And apparently we blink a little bit and go invisible. But the real thing we're working on is this code behind the scenes. This is all the code in the game is generated so far. So we basically just said like, hey, can you make a platformer? It made a platformer. We asked like, hey, can you organize the platforms a little bit better so we can get to them? Can you fix some bugs? And then we said, can you add enemies? So it just added enemies. We basically built this system that hooks up a LLM to Unity itself, so it can make changes in Unity for us. So now, not sure what to add next. Let's say, can you make the platforms wider so the enemies can patrol better, and maybe also have some platforms above the main platform that the player could use to get around enemies. We'll see. We're basically just seeing if this works. Like, we're not really working on an actual game right now. We're just working on this system that I hope we'll be able to plug into our other games and have it like reason about what already is in the scene and like what's in the project, so it can start fixing some bugs. What about health? The player needs to know how much health he has. You are absolutely right, actually, because it even set up. Wow, my eyes are killing me. I'm dying to this light. Let me unplug that and see if this will. Yeah, that looks better. Yeah, we set up code for player health. It has an update function, but I guess we never set the health bar image, or maybe it's not in a canvas. So let's see if we can find what player health is attached to. And while we're doing that, we'll make sure this has all the permissions it needs to keep going. But yeah, let's add some UI next, I suppose. Let's see. Player health's probably going to be on the player. Player health. Health bar has no image attached. All right. And we did literally, like right before the stream, Tony added the assembly linking that we need to work with UI in Unity. So let me make sure that I've fetched all his stuff here. Okay, looks good. And then yeah, we'll add some UI after this. But let's play this real fast, and then we'll be able to compare what the old level looks like versus the new one. So I don't know why I made the player so fat. Oh, okay. So it's in the progress of changing all this logic now. Wait, we have 2 players. Oh, right. Because it's... I see. So it creates 1 player at the game start, but apparently it's also created one here because we probably need to be using destroy immediate instead of like destroy in play mode. But let's... Yeah, I think it... Honestly, we should like clear all that out, but we'll have that fix it after this. So it generates the level on the fly. We can kind of get through. We don't have any enemies currently. Let's double check that this isn't waiting on us. It's editing scripts. So these enemies are just vibing. So if we touch this guy to the side, we take some damage. He's coming for us. He goes back to that spot, I guess. Okay. I mean, it's not the most fun, but it kind of works. After our UI, maybe we add like an end point that when you get there, it beats the level and gives you a new level, I guess. But yeah, that seems fine so far. This is editing the platform generator, editing the enemy spawner, and updating the game manager. You got some progress on your game. Yeah, how's your game going? I haven't checked out your stream recently, so I would love to hear like how things are going. If you want to share a link to your game also, feel free to do so. Or you can just, I think the URLs will get cut out in the chat, so you can give like the name of it for where people can find it. I know we got a couple other developers in the chat who might want to see it, or other gamers as well. But yeah, good to have you here. Also, thanks again last week for messaging me when I forgot to end my stream. I had to watch back through that and like make sure I wasn't picking my nose or like being weird. I definitely just forgot to press stop streaming after I raided someone. Howdy, howdy, Tony. Just in time for Genie to almost work. We're working on what we can. After this goes through, I'll show you what I got. Multiplayer works, and they update a preview version next weekend. Okay. Nice. I am excited to play that. Also, shout out to a regular human who also just got a playable demo out yesterday or very recently. Seems like this is the season for everyone to finally get stuff done. Congratulations to you both. I will definitely play both of your games. Have I pushed any changes? I have not. I've just been trying to get stuff working in Unity, really, and seeing what it can do. So let's reload this. Definitely, it was working a lot better earlier, but let's see what we have here. But that's why you need an end scene in your OBS. Yeah, I have an end scene, and I definitely just forget to use it sometimes. Especially when it'd be nice if the raid command could just knock me over to... Just kidding. The end scene. I'm going to add the compile check on added and edited scripts next. Cool. Yeah, that'll be very helpful, I think, Tony. We tried more on Pac-Man earlier, and I think what the issue is, or like a lot of the issues that I'm seeing, is that it'll add like 4 or 5 scripts at once, and they're all referencing each other. And it won't work because the first script will be referencing some of the other scripts it's about to add, so it never ends up compiling any of the scripts. And so it would be nice if we could get like the list of the console errors that we have. So if it sees like, hey, there's still compilation errors, it can kind of work through those. Did I show them Snake? I did. I did indeed. Let's see. Where's... shout out again to this little snake that Tony Sprocket made with our Game Genie here. Track score, WASD movement, it made the images, does collision with the tail, and has restart. And he built it entirely by just chatting. So that's fun. All right, let's play this. Let's see if it's getting a little bit more finicky. It was good earlier. We now have 2 players for whatever reason. It's creating 2 players because it's still creating 1 whenever we play, and then also 1 in the scene setup. We've got some enemies, but their patrol is definitely broken. You can jump on their heads though. Gives you a little speed boost. And that's about all we have. So we need to say the platforms are all way too close together. Also, there's 2 players. 1 in scene, 1 created at start. And we also need UI to show the player's health. We'll see if we can reason through those. I'll fix all those issues. Hurrah. Easy peas. Mao said, your Steam page is not online for now. We still need some artwork. Yeah. I'm also going through the process of our You Are Not Alice game. I'm building the Steam page right now. It takes so freaking long to do all those like capsule images, library images, logos. Like, it's almost as long as the game itself. I mean, that's an exaggeration, but it takes so freaking long. Good luck in getting it all sorted out. So it is going to edit the platform generator, probably to space out the platforms. They're all very chunky together. And we increased the jump height, so we should be able to put them further apart. And let's see what else it can do. Can you do me a favor? Yes, what's up? All right, we're fixing the duplicate player issue. Hopefully it's gonna get the scene context and figure out why that happened and fix it. Tell me where in Elixir 3D the image generation code is. I want to look at how you're generating the item icons. Yes. Let me actually... There's no reason I shouldn't open up a third Unity project, right? Surely this computer is going to be just fine with 3 instances of Unity running. All right, we're also editing the game manager so we can hopefully not have 2 players. And we'll also add our health UI, probably put a reference to it in there. Let me open up Elixir 3D for you real fast, Tony, and I can show you where. That's pretty bright. Sorry about your eyes, everyone. Cool, looks like it. And update the player health script to work with our new UI. Perfect. All right, so in here, we should have an item creation service, I believe. And that's going to be an entry point to creating items, which will probably have an example of the image. That's what you asked for? Yeah, okay. So just control. Oh wait, I saw it. Generate image for item. So basically, no API key, no API key. Okay, cool. Basically in here, let me first real fast. So we're gonna just format that JSON request like the API docs have. You can copy and paste that. And then we just send that post request. We wait for the response. We make sure it's valid. And then we'll get back a item object. So that's going to look like, let's see, how do we parse it? Oh, actually, I think we just fetched the base64 data. So it has the, oh, where's the prompt though? Okay. I got you. The prompt is, I think just in, yeah, it's just in this JSON data. So the prompt is here. We just pass in the item name and the item description. And then you can also pass in a negative prompt. We don't. And you can also pass in a different style. There's a couple different styles on the API that we support, like images, characters, skill icons, I think. And then this is like the raw model to use if you want to change that, but I recommend this one. But yeah, you just pass prompt in as the actual like data you pass to the API. All right. I want to see if we potentially have some... It still has issues with destroy immediate. Is that what I linked to you earlier? Yeah, it is. Okay. Yeah, because it can't use destroy because we're in edit mode. And it says to use destroy immediate instead, but we don't have the assembly linked to use destroy immediate. So when it tries to fix that bug, it tries to use the destroy immediate, it gets the error back saying, hey, we can't use that, and then it sits in that cycle sometimes. But yeah, that means it's having difficulty clearing out stuff that it adds to the project, like in the hierarchy, in the scene. So what we can do is, let's take a look at the platform generator real fast. I think it still generates all the platforms on start. If we look at game manager, does this generate platforms? Platform. Okay, it does. So we should be good to just delete all the stuff that it was trying to delete until we can figure out how to link that last assembly. I guess we can leave the start platform just in case. But I do see we have a canvas added, which is nice. What do we have here? The most janky health bar possible, but might just work. I'm suspicious. Doesn't have a fill property. But wait, why is our player, first of all, huge? What happens if we just press play? That's our health bar? Okay. Does it go down if we hit an enemy? We have no enemies here. Okay. Okay, next level. Give me some enemies, please. I wonder if it's not recreating enemies when it makes new levels. Oh, there was one. Oh, we're gonna die. Alright, so there are enemies. I just need an enemy to run into. Okay, health bar does not go down, but we do die. Okay. Yeah, I didn't think it would go down because if we look at our player health script, we have our update, health bar.fill amount. I think there's a property we need to set on this, right? To make it fillable? I don't remember what that property is. Does it need an image? Yeah, there we go. So when we attach an image to it, a sprite to it, we can change this to filled. And then we have our fill amount. So we'll do horizontal, just something placeholder-y for now. But this should potentially work. We'll see if that works. Alright, enemy, don't fall. Got too excited there. Alright, I don't love the platform layout still. I think our player is probably way too big also, but we do kind of need this like end point. And also sometimes we have platforms that are too far. Come on, enemies, I just want to bump into one of you to see if I die or not. No, okay, it does not. Does it need a redraw? What's going on here? Gets the right property. Or the right value. But it doesn't update in the scene? I actually thought that would work. Because if we change it here, it works. Oh, that's weird. Oh, it's still working on stuff. It's going to try and use destroy immediate again. Yeah, we should probably fix that sooner rather than later. We'll see what it says this time. But, I mean, next up we can either have it fix the UI or we can add like an end to the level. But we do have an issue right now of it's struggling to actually clean up the level because it can't call destroy in the editor. Pull down the new changes. Do they fix destroy and destroy immediate? Just add the assembly that has destroy immediate. Okay, cool. So I wonder if I can wait here, not run this tool, pull down the changes. Probably need to restart the server. Maybe not. Let's fetch this. Okay, cool. You don't need to restart the server. Do I need to? I probably don't even need to restart Unity because that just recompiled probably the changes there. It reconnects here. So now I can run this tool and keep going, hopefully. We'll see. Great, I fixed everything. Hurrah! Now your platformer is more polished and playable. All right. I'll believe it when I see it. By the way, this is by far the most reliable networking I've ever built. Can't believe the WebSocket works this reliably. You know, it does work pretty well, actually. Now that we have the auto reconnect, it works pretty darn well. What was I going to add? Let's look again at this. All right, so here's what we're gonna do. Please fix these things. The player and enemies are too big. Enemies sometimes walk off platforms to their own death. The player health in the UI doesn't update when the player takes damage. And if we really want to pile on the changes, we will say the player should win the level when they get to the end and go on to the next level. Let's see if we can get these working. So I realized I probably should just like increase this font size a little bit for the stream, but Control Scroll doesn't do that, so hopefully it's big enough. I'll fix all of these issues. Let's start addressing them one by one. Edit existing script, okay. Editing the enemy script. Oh, also, Tony, while I've got you here, I noticed in one of the tools we have like instructions that we pass through. I think I saw that. How is that used? How are those instructions used? I'm trying to find an example here, but none of these have it. I think it was for... I don't even know what tool we used that had instructions included. But I was curious if that had some impact. All right, we're updating the enemy, presumably to stop them from walking off the platforms to their own death. All of them have descriptions, and the LM should be seeing those on the host side. I mean in like the actual parameters of the tool here, where we have like relative path and new source code. One of the tools had a third parameter of instructions. I was curious what that was. Wonder actually, I mean, I have code over here, instructions. Yeah, I guess we don't define it here, but that was interesting to see because I hadn't seen it in other tools. All right, player health. I wonder if this just needed like a redraw or something. One other thing that we could do on edit existing script as scripts get larger. Right now we're basically reading in the script and then making changes by generating a full new script. If we added like a way to apply like git diffs, eventually I feel like files are going to be big enough that we probably want to like insert 5 lines or change 10 lines instead of like redoing the whole file. We're probably not quite there, but we're probably going to be there soon, especially with you hitting like context limits and stuff. But that would be one way that, one, we'd speed up the generations a lot if we just read that file and applied per line changes. And two, probably can potentially reason over a bigger file or make changes in a bigger file. So theoretically, enemies are fixed. We'll see. Health should be updating, and now they're going to add a level completion system to the game. Interesting. Let's see what it makes. You have to show me because I'm not sure. Okay, next time I see it, I'll show you. Yeah, it was very strange because I hadn't seen anything else use it, and it was also like the instructions themselves didn't really seem like they did anything. It was more like, we're going to edit this file to implement this change. Level complete. All right. What do we got in here? Let's look at that file. When it's done generating, I suppose. You can do it, MCP. Yeah, another big benefit to building our own client here for talking to it is that we can have at least, like, I know it's probably streaming in the file. Well, I guess this is complete, but it would be very nice if we had some sort of progress indicator of what the heck is it doing right now. It's probably waiting on Unity, I guess, to say like, hey, we added this. But level complete, I don't see it. Script added successfully. Level complete. Am I blind? Level complete. Okay. Sure. Level complete cannot be found. Okay. So why not? Let's do this. Where is our format this code? See what it looks like. I mean, we can just paste it in ourselves, but I don't know why it didn't add it when it said it did. And I guess we'll do that. We don't need to get too hung up on it right now. I'm just worried that it's gonna like show up later. But I guess should have shown up by now. Level complete. Just paste that in. Looks fine. Level complete could not be found because we hadn't pasted it in yet. Here we're creating our flag texture, setting up our prefab for it, and then make sure it's added to our scene. And then we'll also have to fix this manually. The permission. Instantiate does not exist in the current context. Interesting. Why not? Let's see what this code looks like. There's probably a nicer way to reformat this code than pasting it into an LLM, but it's fine. So where do we call instantiate here? This is back in the platform generator, which is a script and not executed in the client. So that could be a difference. Here's where we're running this code. We should be able to access instantiate here because it's put in, what is this wrapped in? Let's go over to our code execution service. Where's that window? Code execution service. We do have engine and editor, although it doesn't inherit from like mono behavior. I don't know if that has instantiate attached, but runtime error. Font is no longer a valid built-in font. Please use legacy runtime. Okay. It's working on some stuff. Okay, pull it down again. I added on compile checks to add and edit script. Okay, cool. I'll pull that in a sec. Code compilation failed. Still trying to fix the bugs, so that's positive. Compile the source code first to ensure it's valid. Return the error message if it's not. I haven't tested it, but it should work. There are times where we want to continue on even when the compiled code is not valid, I think. Like a good example is when it added like camera follow, enemy, game manager, and player controller. It added them all at the same time, and they all reference each other. So if we were to have just added, say, game manager first, it's going to have the compilation errors. But those errors go away as soon as it adds like player controller and enemy and camera follow, because the errors are like references to those classes. So we do want to make sure that we can like continue on and like add multiple scripts without being blocked on one of them not compiling, if that makes sense. How do you think we should do that? I think we should, like, if we could somehow try and either trigger the build ourselves or like get access to Unity's build errors here. Like, we can add a bunch of scripts and then check for compilation errors. Or we could just get back those compilation errors and then have the LLM reason over like, hey, the game manager is getting an error that it can't reference the player controller, but it'll know that, oh yeah, I haven't added the player controller yet, so let me add that real fast. And then that'll get back an error of, oh, it's referencing the camera follow, but I haven't added that yet, so I'll add that. And then that should have no compilation errors. So there's almost like a distinction that it needs to make of like, is this error something that we need to fix right now, or will it fix itself with what I'm planning to do? So I don't know how we want to like differentiate between those in the build, because it kind of needs to like go back through the LLM to say like, hey, is this something that needs to be fixed right now or not? I do also occasionally disconnect from Unity over here, but it seems like it continues working when we just reconnect. All right, final updates. I think we'll need to fix this real fast, which theoretically we should be able to just mark it internal instead of private, is I assume the fix, but we shall see. Did I close Visual Studio earlier? Huh. Let's do this. So setup finish flag is private. Let's make that internal so we can access it from over there. 330 and 369 are the lines where I added this check in the code execution service. Do you want to try making it where it can still continue? I can try. I think we don't have the communications set up right now for the code execution service to ask things of the LLM, right? Is that correct? Because we'd basically need like say 330. Well, I need to pull down, but when we do this build and we get back the errors, we would need to make a request out there. We pass messages from this file to the LLM, anything we return here. Okay, so maybe it already does that. Like if we're getting back compilation errors, we'll probably pass those back to the LLM, which is going to continue on anyway if it thinks that it should. So I can test that a little bit next time it adds like a bunch of scripts at once. Let's see what's going on here. That's fine. We fixed that. Finish flag trigger is fine. Player health does not have update health bar. Interesting. Level text is reusing the name. So theoretically it's fixing that. By the way, you could just reverse order, just have a look at it and let me know what you think. Reverse order of the checks, you mean, that you added? I'm going to try and get this to go through the process to where we can actually build again, or like play again, before I pull, just to make sure that it's not, if we have any issues, I want to make sure that it's not because of the code. So fixing the player and enemy sizes, I think we're just going to make them smaller. Enemy tags not defined. Okay, so we need to make that tag, go apply it, and then redo this. Yeah, I also feel like a lot of the back and forth on bug fixes could probably be avoided if it reasoned, like if it read more from, like, I don't know if we have tags in the context or layers. I think we had errors on earlier because it tried to use them and hadn't created them yet. I guess I don't all know what's in the context, so I should double check that. But we'll look at that in a sec. Level complete. We're getting there. All right, perfect. I fixed all the issues you mentioned. Players now smaller, enemies are now smaller. Changes make the platforms feel properly sized. Added edge detection for enemies so they know when they're about to walk off, they'll turn around. It'd also be cool if we could just prompt like the general prompt that we have, this guy. And then I don't think we guide what like this final message looks like, but we could make it look more like a game change log if we're editing an existing thing of like, oh yeah, we updated the player, more like this. Just a little fun thing. We don't have to do that though. We can basically add the entire editor as a database. I'm not sure exactly how to do it, but there's for sure we can pass the Unity console log all the way back. Just also not exactly sure if we want that to be a tool or happen automatically at some point. Could even have a final tool and generate changelog. Yeah, like summarize what happened, something like that. I see I have changes in this file. I'm curious what they are. But let's play this. I hope that it clears this on start. Doesn't, but that's all right. Let's help it out a little bit. Let's just make that go away at the start. Probably just needed to update the scene file for that. Oh, it creates, oh no, it's creating more. Okay. Maybe it did create one, but it also creates one at start that is disabled. Isn't disabled. No font. Let's help it out a little bit there. Let's disable this guy. Gotta help, gotta get those jumps a little bit nicer. Platforms are a little too spaced out now. Okay. Maybe we need a double jump. Okay. Health is still not updating. Player took 1 damage, health is 2/3. Well, I guess it's kind of hard to test the end of the level if we can't get there. But I want to hit this guy and see if our health says 1/3 or 2/3. Okay, it does reset to 2/3 when we restart the level. That's good. All right, I want to see this end of the level thing. There's no way. All right. Maybe let's chill. Let's save this. Let's go pull down Tony's changes, which should have some improvements. Let's go ahead and tell this guy, hey, I can't make it. I can't always make it to the next platform. Can you give me a double jump and also make sure each platform is reachable? Cool. We'll get it started on that. If you want to try that on here, that could be cool, and I can start adding image into it. Yes, start adding the changelog or the like the compile errors. I'll take a look at the compile errors because that's what you just pushed up, I think. He's going to add some double jump. Cool. So I'll watch this and see if we ever get into that situation where like it's not continuing when it should continue because future code will add it, which is a weird state to be. It's basically the equivalent of people like me just sitting down and being like, I don't need to compile this. I'm going to just sit down and write for an hour. I'll write this code and I'll compile it all at the end and it'll just work. Talking about double jump, do you do meal prep? Great segue there, Human. I don't meal prep, but my wifey does. And I only do in the sense of like making a big portion of food and then eating it as leftovers. Like last night I made spaghetti and chili, which is very good. Definitely try it. And we each had 2 bowls, and there's probably enough for us each to have like 3 or 4 more bowls of it. So like food for the next several days. Kind of like meal prepping, but I know she will also like meal prep she'll bake a big thing and cut it into sections for breakfast each day and stuff like that. Why? I do not meal prep that much, no. You looking for the good recipes? You also often eat spaghetti with chili. All right. A lot of people, you say spaghetti and chili, and they're like, what the heck is that? And let me just send this person to the shadow realm real fast. Twitch.tv/Drusif. Timeout. Warn. Ban. Oh, it's gone already. Huh. Wonder if Twitch deleted it. But recently made meal prep burritos. They were so good I ate everything in 2 days. I think you missed the point of meal prepping then. But I do know that she's been making like burrito style like wraps with like eggs and sausage and probably bacon. I feel like that's a very, very good thing to meal prep because it's so filling in the morning, but also you can like cut it in half and take it on the go or not cut it in half and eat a huge one. And they're also real good. So what'd you put in your burritos? Also, positive news, Tony, the destroy immediate assembly you added in looks like it's working just fine. I think things are getting cleaned up in the hierarchy just fine now. Ground beef, bell pepper, corn, some spices. Basically it was chili but wrapped up, you know? Tortillas are an unsung hero for leftovers. You can pretty much just put anything in a tortilla and it's delicious. But that sounds real good too. It's basically chili wrapped up, which chili on the go, don't mind if I do. And cream cheese and Greek yogurt. Both of those might make it a little messy, but probably pretty good too. It'd be good to dip in like Greek yogurt, I think. All right. Ooh, that's a nice thing to be done, refreshing the asset database. But unfortunately, oh, well, probably didn't mean to delete that. Yeah, I know this song. It was supposed to be a protein bomb. Each burrito had 30 grams of protein. Dang. I've been trying to eat a lot more protein and fiber recently. So last night was like whole wheat spaghetti with chili, which probably had a lot of protein, but also was like 10 grams of fiber, which is a nice little fiber bomb. All right, it seems to have reasoned through the errors and added what we need. So we should have a double jump with space now. The player turns blue when a double jump is available. A visual particle effect plays when double jumping. And added tutorial text at the bottom of the screen. Also, the platforms should be closer together. Added guaranteed reachability calculations. And a safety margin to make sure even single jumps can reach platforms. Okay. Sure. All right, let's play it. I see the tutorial at the bottom. Looks pretty good. Maybe now we'll be able to get to the end of the level and actually see if our like end of level screen actually works. Can't really test that when you just lose. But that's a ridiculous particle effect. Is it actually a particle system? Let me see this. It is actually... Yo, Tony, it made a literal particle system to play, which is kind of crazy. I want to actually poke back and see. Well, it was probably in one of the... Interesting. So now we can jump on people's heads. Cool. Patrol is still not working. Damage is still not updating for whatever reason, which is weird because it actually is updating the value. I just don't know why it's not updating on the UI. Which, like, if I were coding this, I would be very confused what's missing here. But let's see if we can get to the end of the level. Does definitely seem a lot more easy now. Oh no. No. Okay. Yeah, double jump actually helps a lot. Enemy floating in the air. Wait, is that the flag? I think so. Wait, what? Did we restart the level twice? Strange. I was trying to style on them. Alright, let's try this again. It might just be that the end of level flag looks like an enemy. Okay, so it should be showing. So does this reset twice? No, okay. Just sent us to the next level. But the level complete panel shows up but doesn't have any text in it because, right, we didn't update the font outside of play mode. We can help it with that. Let's go look at how was that created. The level complete dialog box is empty because the text doesn't have a font set. Easy quick fix, maybe? Let's also look at prefab's finish flag. Let's make this look not like an enemy. Interesting. I guess it made these sprites. Let's do this guy. We still have our start platform, which I wonder if we need. Surely it's going to make that start platform dynamically for us. Yeah. Yeah, we have this error, which hopefully it'll see. Okay, it set the font to legacy runtime.ttf. It should font color is white, sure. Okay. So finish flag. Let's just make this guy green. And then let's also say the health is still not updating in the UI. I can see the value is changing, but the UI isn't redrawing or something. So I don't even know what the fix is here. It's probably something dumb, but we'll see. Let's see if when we get to the end of the level, we can get that message to appear. But the fact that it's already here and... oh, okay. I think it'll work. I don't know why we have 2 level complete panels, though. But let's delete this one and make it to the end of the level again. Oh, get out of my way. It's pretty easy with double jump. Okay, we don't have an end level thing. That's fine. Let's delete this. Is this the new version? Yeah, it is. Health bar, let's see what it does. Hey, Tony Sprocket, if you're in the chat still, how did you get it to generate new images for Snake? I would love to generate some stuff that isn't just red boxes for like the enemies. Health bar updater, I don't know that we need that. You just described what to make? Okay. I'll give that a shot next. I'll tell it to make a player sprite and also an enemy sprite. Glad it is at least working some for you, though. Yeah, it's definitely getting a lot better. Like yesterday, it wasn't working at all. But, you know, we've only been working on it for a little while, so it makes sense that there's some bumpiness in the earliness. But it's looking pretty good so far. I mean, it seems to be the main thing, the main problem, I would say right now, is that it's often doubling up on scripts instead of like changing existing scripts. So we've got our player health, and I think it's adding a health bar updater now, which might be what we need. But like, at least in the last attempt, like with Snake, we had food controller, food updater, player controller, player manager. It was doubling up a lot that way. And then also in this one, like we had everything relying on game manager, but then it would rewrite game manager and break all of those scripts that relied on it. So it's a weird mixture of like just creating new files willy-nilly and then occasionally like completely rewriting existing files. But I think we can prompt out both of those. And then also with the compilation errors that you just added back for adding and editing files, it'll be able to see like, oh, the changes I just did now cause compilation errors, so I should undo those. Or at least undo the parts that are breaking things. So this is working away, I assume. And let's see if this updates things, and then we'll get it started on sprites while we play. Okay, so we had a return in the code that we generated. So let me also update and add that to our guidance of that. Do not return any values from the code you provide, nor break early. You're in a void context. Void return method. That's a little clearer. I mean, I guess we could modify execute to return something for like code execution that we could return back to the LLM, but I feel like we already returned back like the actual response of executing it, like whether it was successful or not. So we might not need the actual debug back, but we could. Code compilation. Yep, still trying to return stuff. Not gonna work. Health bar updater could not be found, probably because okay, should have compiled now. Let's run this. See what it's doing instead. While that works, let me see if I can cursor chat line wrapping. Enable line wrapping. Right, of course. Word wrap and chat sidebar. Yes, exactly. Annoys me often too. Any update? No, no, no. If you hold shift and mouse wheel scroll up and down, it horizontally scrolls left and right. Okay, that helps. That is good to know. Connection failed, resume, okay. Wrapping would be better so we could actually see it, yes. Cool. Will never be implemented, I bet. This is still no player found in scene. All right, we're going down a rabbit hole here. This is a good time to think about what we want the me flow, the user flow to be when the code is going down a rabbit hole and they're like, all right, just start over, man. Game initializer does not have player prefab. Sure. We can shift scroll. Nice little thing there. Great. Let's connect this. Sure. Wait, that wraps? Why does that wrap? Oh, that's the result. Okay. Okay, we are still going. Let's give it a little bit longer and then maybe we can just interrupt it or something. I need some new game music. We're reaching the end of our Final Fantasy VIII soundtrack and it's getting real low energy. I always play Chrono Trigger or Chrono Cross usually, and it'd be nice to get something else a little bit more upbeat. Can you scroll straight into Katamari Damacy maybe? Na. Add to queue. All right, will this work? Let's save all these changes to the scene. Sure. What are you doing? Refreshing the asset database. Okay, surely it worked. We updated player health to maintain a reference. Updated the enemy script to call the player's take damage method. I think it already did that. Improved the game initializer script. I'm curious what game initializer does that game manager doesn't. I guess game initializer has a game manager. Interesting. So apply game fixes. Does it do all this every time we run it? That's kind of wild, actually. Huh. So these are things that it probably should have done in the editor, but I bet it was getting errors trying to execute them in the editor. So what it ended up doing was creating a game initializer script that runs on start that applies all those fixes during playtime. Interesting. So let's press play here so we get a snapshot of what the code is. Let's make sure it runs. We have our fonts set. Okay. We still have 2 level complete panels. So let's kill that one. Enemies not defined. Sure. Let's help it along real fast. Let's say enemy, layer, add layer, enemy. We go back to enemy inspector, put that on the enemy layer. Now let's play. Should have no errors here. So that'll run without us modifying stuff. So now let's say, can you make some custom sprites for the player and the enemies? I want them to look really cool, but also kind of look like animals. Probably didn't need a question mark there, but sure, let's try and get it creating some custom sprites while we play. Okay, yeah. Patrol is still broken on enemies. And we don't have the end flag anymore. But otherwise, things kind of work. We need to check to see if our health goes down. So we definitely update our health bar and take damage. I just don't understand why this fill isn't redrawing. Do we have like... we have 2 health bars. And I bet... Yeah, this one's not updating, and I bet it's also drawing in front of the other. Yep, okay. So here's what we're going to do. Looks like we create that health bar at runtime. Let's delete it. Let's delete this guy. It's probably fine. Let's go ahead and delete that start platform too, because YOLO, why not? Let's press play. Health bar. Right, so the problem is the health bar needs a sprite in order to get fill mode, and also it needs position in the top left. And we also have this guy, which is problematic still, because he doesn't have a font. So these are not prefabs for whatever reason. We're just like creating them on the fly. So let's see where this is at, and we'll do all that after we get some custom sprites. Okay, animal theme, custom sprite manager. Hey Kieran, how's it going? I'm doing good. I'm super busy this week building some cool stuff, but it's finally starting to like kind of work. So it's kind of fun to play with. And I've been playing a little bit of Minecraft in the evenings, so, you know, good times. We are building basically a conversational interface to Unity. So instead of knowing how to click around and do a bunch of stuff, you can describe what you want and it'll go make those changes in Unity for you. So we are effectively generating this little platformer as we go right now. And right now it is designing some custom sprites for us. We haven't done any image generation quite yet, so we're going to see how well it manages generating sprites, but we will see if that works. You have returned from brushing your teeth. Your teeth are now brushed. I just brushed my teeth exactly 2 hours and 30 minutes ago, right before the stream. Always part of my pre-stream. Go hit start stream. Go over to that starting soon scene. Grab a snack. Refill my water. Brush my teeth. Run around and do everything I can, and then try not to take more than like 5 minutes before I actually start. And refill my coffee too. Always gotta have spare coffee when you start a stream. Alrighty, what's it doing here? So texture 2D does not contain a definition for encode to PNG. I wonder if that is something that we can include if it's real. Texture 2D encode to PNG. Okay, we can cook with this. So what it would try and do is this takes in probably like string-based data, a byte array. So it would generate the byte array of the image and then build the texture from that. Okay. And we'd also need texture importer. This Final Fantasy song is unfamiliar to me. I decided the Final Fantasy songs were a little bit too not upbeat enough, and I'm sure that was Dimitri. I've got my curtains closed because otherwise I get blinded by the sun. So he needed to be in the window. He's currently on some anti-anxiety meds that I gave him right before stream as well. So he's just kind of laying in the sun and having the time of his life. So I'm surprised he made it into the camera. All right, let's do this. Let's also say more, let's take this over here. More assemblies to include for easy 2D image generation. That and this guy. First song of Katamari Damacy is definitely the best song. Alright, enjoy the keyboard sounds. Alrighty. Sounds fun. I'm alright just playing some Grand Theft Auto today, doing some errands. Wi-Fi right now is so iffy. Well, good thing you don't need Wi-Fi for Grand Theft Auto, so I hope your Wi-Fi goes out so you can't do any work and have to play Grand Theft Auto. I'm sorry. Alright, player animator, did we generate that code? We did not. Interesting. Okay. It's still working through bugs. It's a very interesting approach of like, it adds a bunch of stuff that it thinks it needs, and then as it pieces it all together, it goes through and basically gets all these compilation errors and works through each to fix each part. Animal sprite controller could not be found. Sure. Obviously, because we don't have that. Makes sense. Let's add animal eyes to them to make them look more like animals. Sure. Kieran, this is a weird question for you. But on your side of the world, where everything is upside down, is your weekends also Saturday, Sunday? Or is it other days? Because I know some countries not necessarily always have Saturday, Sunday as the weekend. Obviously, it's different like per job and stuff, but is it your weekend now? Is that why you're running errands? Alright, the player is now a fox with orange coloring, fox-like ears, black eyes, and a bushy tail. Enemies are now alternating between owls and rabbits. You know, I will believe that when I see it. We are going to clear our errors. No compilation errors. We're going to press play, and we're going to believe that we're definitely not a blue square, and we're definitely a fox. And everything is perfect. So I don't know what it even thought it was trying to do there, but it definitely didn't generate any sprites. So yeah, let's just say, yeah, that didn't work, but nah, we'll wait until we have those two new assemblies. Let's first, let's say, I think there's a problem with the UI. The health needs to be in the top left corner, and the end of level screen is always visible. Can you take a look and find out what's wrong and fix it? We will see if we can fix that. The two things that are very obvious. Right there and right there. We'll see what it says. So getting the scene context, I guess we probably should have saved the scene before doing this, so make sure it has the update version, but oh well. You know what game has an amazing soundtrack that maybe we'll go to after this song? Tony Hawk. All the Pro Skater songs, or games. Where's my Spotify window? If we really want the upbeat songs, that's where we're rolling next. Add to queue. Good luck with that. All right, read file. That's a good sign that we are reading some files to see what we already have. Font is defined as an assembly, in an assembly. Oh, interesting. Let's copy this too. We'll just start making a little list of all the assemblies we need to add in. This guy. Because we need to bring in whatever assembly has font defined. Text rendering module, I guess. Cool. So keep that going. Reading some files, checking game initializer as well, just reading them in. Move the health bar, make the level complete panel invisible by default. So that should be moving these. Health bar, rect transform is grabbed. Anchor to top left corner, that makes sense. Cool, cool, cool. Set our anchored position a little bit far off from the corner, and think things are good. Seems some of the Unity elements couldn't be found in the scene. I wonder, take me back here. How do we grab this? Game object find health bar. Right, that's not gonna find that because it needs to be like canvas / health bar. So we basically need it to grab the scene file before reasoning over that. We can do that. Okay, we're rolling on through. We're just vibing. This is the least amount of code I think I've ever written on any stream. So that's fun. Okay, we're editing this script. Who needs code anyway? You know, that is fair. I'm trying to make this in such a way that like people who don't know how to code can use it, but I'm most excited to get like back into actual coding and use this more as like an assistant that I can delegate some stuff to while I'm also writing code on the side. So twice the code, one person, two code, one person, maybe. All right, we're getting there. Rewriting this, which is probably good because we weren't adding this to the end of the scene anymore. Hierarchy's still looking good, I think. Sure feels like these are created at runtime. Are they not cleaned up afterwards? Yeah, they're definitely created at runtime, so we can delete these too. And let's see how this finishes up. Execute some Unity code, refresh asset database, make sure the level's hidden, and so on. Okay, health bar has been moved to the top left. I'll believe it when I see it. Level complete is hidden by default. Updated both level complete and finish flag trigger scripts to work together. Make sure the panel only appears when you complete a level, and added a proper font reference, which was an important one because nothing was showing up. Cool. Let's double check that. So if we hit play, this level complete panel is still visible and still no font. So that is not correct. It did not do that. And there's not a different one that it changed. So I don't know what it thinks it did, but it was not correct. And also our health bar did not move at all. Yeah, unsure. Why it's so against actually working. Let's go see if we can get our code for creating that health bar. We'll find out where it is. What's a good way to find that? Probably by name. What's it called? Level complete panel is one. So where do we call... Where do we create this? Create level complete UI. Let's throw a little context menu, create level complete UI, so we can run it manually and see what it spits out. And this is on level complete. So let's take a look. Where are we going to find that? T level complete. It's not in the scene. If we play, does something get added that has it in the scene? Level complete manager. Okay. So here, if we right click create level complete UI, it is just going to create the same thing, which is not correct. So let's look at this. Create the panel. This is all fine. Background's fine. Add the text. So text needs, yeah, that needs to go away. We can't use that font, which is probably why the font's not working. We also need this rect transform to be anchored in the top left. I guess not the text rect, but the panel rect. Anchor top left. Sure. So let's see if that fixes both of those bugs. Oh wait, I guess this one doesn't need to be anchored in the top left. Health bar does. But we should at least get text appearing in this now. And also we need this panel to be .set what's the game object? What the heck is this class? It is a game object. .set active. Oh, I didn't even set active false because we set it active later. Let's press play. Let's see if that generates correctly now. Okay, so that looks promising. If we turn this on, still no font. Maybe we just let's grab this line. Bring our changes back, and then we want legacy, whatever it was, legacy runtime, I think. We'll double check. So here, okay, that is the font we needed. Cool, cool, cool. So now let's go fix the health bar as well. And that is, let's go look at player health. Game object find health bar is what we call it. Where do we create it? I feel like that's not gonna work. You need the full path, right? Inside, like, it's gonna be canvas slash health bar slash fill or something. Do we ever not found? No, we don't print that out. Okay, maybe it does work. But let's see where we create this. Player health. Update health bar. Let's press play and look. Get some other things we can search for. So health bar. Just has background and fill. So maybe we can background. There we go. Have you ever wondered why people only fry chicken in a crunchy coating and not beef? I've never wondered that until now. Are you going to do it and report back with whether it's delicious? I mean, I feel like the African meat pies sometimes get a crunchy coating. They're kind of delicious. Like, I guess, yeah, empanadas also kind of. It's not quite the same because it's more like put in a crunchy thing. But yeah, I'm getting a lot of empanadas here. Is that like these guys? Maybe beef just doesn't hold together as well as chicken. But I am curious now. I bet it's delicious. I mean, you can't go wrong with beef and like a crunchy bready coating. Nothing wrong with that. All right, what is it? It's the fill object that needs a sprite. Right. It tried real hard to make those sprites. Okay, add fill fill is added to this. Sure. Fill image dot sprite is equal to how do we want to do this? Let's do our UI sprite. Use UI sprite for default sprite. I mean, there has to be a reason why this is not a single menu anywhere. Right, like, it's probably... That's not going to be good. It's probably just hard to do for some reason, but it sounds delicious. I would definitely try it. But I bet there is, like, some international cuisines that, like, get very close. Like, empanadas are probably close, but I'm kind of picturing, like you have a chicken patty on a burger. Why don't you have a beef patty that's like that good crunch? Let's see. So this is our fill object. On our fill image is what we need our sprite set to. So we want something like this. Fill image dot sprite is equal to, not that, assets, like, I don't even know what this sprite is. It's just like a built-in one. I'd normally reference it by path. Use the built-in UI image sprite. Is it UI image? We'll find out. So here, we want UI sprite. I mean, we could create a texture on the fly or something. I'm mostly just confused why this is generating without an image, because if we add like a new image, well, yeah, if we add a new image to something that doesn't already have it, I guess it doesn't come with a sprite on it. I mean, if I were like actually writing this, I'd probably want a reference to it in the inspector somewhere. But like, we can just say like, where were we? Fill image dot sprite is equal to, what is this? Health bar fill sprite. And we'll just do it the manual way. Public sprite. Health bar fill sprite. We go over to game manager when we're not playing, and we'll set the sprite there. That's fine enough. I just don't know how to reference the UI image from code. UI sprite. All right, let's see if things are looking a little bit more tamed. Still needs to be anchored top left, but do we have multiple health bars again? Health bar? No, we just have the one. Does it have... So it has a sprite. Oh, but it needs to be set to filled. And we also need to set the fill to horizontal. Okay. So set image type to filled and fill method to horizontal. Cool. Let's try that again. And let's also see here. Anchor to top left. I think we need anchor max too. Yeah, there we go. We don't have a health bar on the screen. Oh, okay. Pivot point is off, but we'll just bring it in real fast. Give me an enemy to run into. Alright, moment of truth. We take damage now. It's about tank time. I want to even change his color when we're low. Interesting. Okay. Well, cool. That works. But at what cost? Right. Tag enemy is not defined. I could have sworn we added an enemy tag. Did we do a enemy layer instead? Yeah, we did. Let's just help it out there too. Add tag enemy. Let's go tag our enemies with that tag enemy. I'd love to try the sprites again. I know I messaged Tony earlier with some assemblies. I don't know if he's added them yet, but I do see that there's code to pull down. So let's grab the latest. Okay, looks like it just undoes this. I want to try sprite generation again. But I guess what we should do real fast is just make sure that our health bar is on the screen. And yeah, I guess the pivot is probably fine to set. That'll probably do what we needed it to do. But let's just quickly see. Okay, cool. Is now set. So we can either try sprites again, or we can try enemy patrol again. Let's try patrolling again real fast. Where's our chat? All right. Enemies just jiggle in place and don't actually move or patrol. Can you figure out what's going on and fix it? They should alternate between patrolling horizontally and vertically flying. We'll get some flying Koopas. Alright, we did make some manual changes to get things like back to a good state, but they weren't too bad. Let's let it read some files, see how things are working. Enemy script, enemy spawner script. You probably should like grab the context again each time it has like a new task to do, instead of relying on what it previously knew from the conversation. Because I guess that'd be important as we like change things, add files, remove files, etc. It's going to reread specific files, but we need it to have an updated index of like what files are even in the project. 3D colliders, you say? I don't know about that. Yeah, I guess we can customize like a lot of the platform generation logic here, but it's kind of nice to be able to just like say, I want my platforms more spaced out, and it updates all these values for you. but it is nice to also have that control. Like platform height, we could probably... I wonder if the pivot's like in the middle or at the top. Because if we make it platform height of 5, is it going to stretch out in both directions or stretch down? You know? Could be worse. Ha ha ha, enemy, you can't go nowhere. Alright, let's get our platform height back to 0.5. You know what, let's make it even... that's fine. Let's make it a little smaller. And then let's see where we're going here. I feel like this is not going to be a good idea. I think it might be trying to treat these enemies as if they're 3D, or in a 3D space at least. Check for 3D colliders, yeah. Fixed horizontal. Looking for anything related to 3D. We've got the rigid body 2D, which is a good indicator that it's still working in 2D. Okay, we'll run that. .2D collider, okay. I think it's fine. It was probably just removing anything 3D. Hopefully. Okay, so we're rewriting the enemy script. It's odd that like a lot of these transformations are being done at runtime, but I think that's a result of earlier when we didn't have some code execution stuff working, so it switched over to doing stuff at runtime just to like make things work. Okay, we got our enemy spawner script updating now. So I think we also have an on gizmos. Yeah, we should be able to see the patrol of enemies if we pause in the game and click on them to select them. So we'll also try that. I'm trying to see where, because we have our collision stuff that definitely works, but how are they moving? Avoid falling. And you're a horizontal mover. And you have gravity on you. Then do this. Move enemy. Move towards our target position. If we reach that destination, we switch direction. That could be the wobbling up and down for like vertically patrolling enemies. But we'll have to kind of inspect, I guess. And then we'll see what this does. We got a hit game on our hands real soon. Connection failed. Try that again. Alright, refresh and save the scene. Surely this'll do it all. Wait a moment for scripts to compile. Sleep 1 second. Okay. Alright, so we fix the enemy script. Set up proper physics, collision, direction switching, sure. Sure feels like vertical enemies should be owls and horizontal enemies should be rabbits, but okay. It's not like we have the sprites yet anyway. Removed interfering 3D objects. I don't think that they did that, but okay. Let's just play. Don't think we have any errors. Okay, we apparently do. Update health bar is private. Sure, we can help with that. This is a wild song. Alright, let's see what happens with enemies. They kind of move now. Kind of. They're very wobbly. Our up and down guys actually work pretty well. But the left or right guys are having issues. Yeah. And they definitely get stuck on some platforms. Okay, end of level flag, level complete, yay! Good to see that works. That needs to hide when we reset the level. Platform is not defined. Okay, we can fix that too. Alright, quick fixes. Vertical enemies look a lot better, but they sometimes spawn stuck on platforms and can't move. So we should fix that. Horizontal enemies still jiggle a bunch, but kind of move horizontally. They still need fixed to actually move. And the level complete dialogue needs to be hidden on new levels. Let's see if it can fix some of these things. Howdy, 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 Tony. It is going. We are, I think, reaching a wall of it actually being able to do things again. We've got a couple bugs that hopefully this will fix, but let me add this tag real fast and I can play it for you. Let's add platform, and then we have a platform prefab. Let's tag that. It struggles a lot with tags as well, like creating tags in Unity. I don't think it can do, at least. So I've been creating all the tags manually. But I mean, we haven't changed that much since the last time you saw it. We have our health finally updating. We have double jumps. We have, these guys are supposed to be moving left to right along the platform. We also have guys who move up and down. And we can reach the end of the level. It gives us a little level complete dialogue and starts us on a new level. For some reason, I think it starts this level twice, or maybe it's already fixed it from cursor currently. But there you go. We should be able to add a tool to create tags or something too. I'm curious why, like, maybe you can't create tags by running code in Unity. Like, surely you can. So I'm curious why that even is an issue, why it can't just use execute Unity code for that. But I haven't poked into the actual code that like is adding tags because I haven't seen it offhand. I've just seen all the errors of this tag doesn't exist. But maybe we can catch one of those and see what the actual error is. I'm also starting to build a list of other module or assemblies that we need to include as well for like fonts and other UI stuff mostly. But let's see if this fixes any of these bugs, I suppose. Also, I saw you commented these back out. I didn't notice any difference like with these. Like I didn't see any change at all in the actual what happens, like the behavior. I feel like before and after it both just continued on, which is what we want. But there were states before of like, once it has done everything, then we would need to like just have some sort of like, hey, are there any errors type thing. But I haven't seen that in a little while, so maybe it's not an issue anymore. Who knows? But let's see if we can fix our enemies. This is really making progress. It's crazy to do this with natural language. Yeah, I think it'll feel a lot more like integrated or like smooth when we can move this chat like into Unity or something. Or, I mean, we can move it into the browser too, but at least also moving it into Unity where we don't have to be like alt-tabbing over and approving stuff all the time and can be a little closer to what's actually changing. I think it's in the process of fixing this bug, so I'll leave it. But yeah, it's crazy to just be able to like generate all this. Like I'm not going to be putting this on itch anytime soon, but it is cool that you can generate a little something and be like, hey, make it harder or make these sprites animals or something. And it can theoretically do that. I haven't been able to get any sprites working at all. I think I messaged you a couple assemblies that we might need for some of those. Like it can generate the byte data for sprites, but it doesn't have access to like create those sprites from byte data without whatever the texture 2D assembly or whatever includes that. But yeah, it's looking pretty interesting. It'll be really cool to see it use more tools as well, like Blender and so on. And I'm also curious what it's going to do here because I think I told it to fix a bug that may not have been an actual bug or like a bug that only happens sometimes. Because we saw the level complete panel once or twice when we finished a level, but not the most recent time, so it doesn't always happen. But yeah, also with the like diff changes to files, I think the edit existing script might be sped up a lot if we're only applying like five line changes, unless this is all just waiting on like Unity to recompile or something. So still rolling through. We could paint on some level over here, but I think this is a good stream for just working on Genie, seeing how far we can push it. Because it'll need to fix this compilation error before any of this code that it adds will be able to compile. So I feel like we're going to see it call add script with this, or I guess edit existing script. But if it tries to execute some code that uses that, it's not going to work. So here it's editing the existing script. Cool, cool, cool. Level complete. Where's our editor? So we rewrote this. I wonder, so it didn't reread this file since we made changes to it, so it probably is going to override our changes, actually. We should probably also make sure that we are rereading any files before we edit them. So let me go over and add that. Read file, where is our, oh, edit existing script. Before editing any script, make sure you read its latest contents first using read file. Cool. So now it's going to try and execute code, but it's probably going to error because we have this compilation error on the enemy. It never generated the function we needed. So if we go over to enemy, where's our error? Force initialize patrol points on enemy. So I'm going to not fix that manually and just see if it can fix it. But I think at this point it's just going to keep trying different fixes without knowing that it needs to compile before it can actually do the stuff that it just added, or use the stuff that it just added. So I also want to try, I want to see if we can just take this error. I think at this point, this isn't going to go anywhere. Let's try once more. Cancel. Stop. Can we just paste in the error and have it write that function for us? Because that'd be a nice loop too if we can just, I mean, we can automate sending the actual error back this way too. So we'll see. I see the issue. This is an error because the method name in the enemy script doesn't match what's being called in the enemy spawner. What is the method name in the enemy script? Did we actually write this? This is enemy component. I don't think we actually wrote that function, so we'll see what it does. Yeah, nothing in here forces patrol points, nor do I think we even have these guys used anywhere. Oh, right. Patrol distance in one axis. That makes sense. Okay. What do you got for me? Edit existing script on enemy spawner. I don't know about that one, boss. Enemy spawner has this line, so maybe it's just going to remove it. We'll see what it does. What you gonna do, cursor? mean, this file also isn't too long, so I don't think it's the length of the file that is kind of slowing down the editing of existing scripts quite yet. All right, let's see if you changed anything. This still has that line. Like, enemy spawner, we'll open it. Enemy spawner, line 151. Still has the arrow points. Are you going to go over and write it in the enemy file now? We will find out. So let's take this. Let's go here. Format this. Will it have the method that we're missing? Initialize patrol points. Do we already have that actually? On enemy initialize. Okay, so it is breaking it out into a function. We definitely still don't have force patrol points or whatever it called it. So I'm sure we'll just need to update this to initialize patrol points instead, but maybe it'll update that for us. We'll see. But that will probably be the fix after this is done. All right, it looks like it's done with this file. So before it moves on to the next one, let me just sneakily jump in here. Is this private or something? Initialize patrol points? Is that not what it was called? Initialize, wait a second. Did this not update? Enemy. Scripts, enemy. This doesn't have the new code because they're missing several pieces. All right, we'll see what's going on. Yeah, so funnily enough, we have this tool for running code in Unity, which we didn't have working earlier. And instead of using that tool, it has taken to having this game initializer function, or this game initializer class, that basically keeps all of those fixes and then runs them at playtime at the start instead of doing all those things in the editor. So if we were to like wipe all this and start over, it probably would actually make all the changes in the editor, but it's silly at this point that it has basically learned to rely on that instead because the tool wasn't working earlier. And this is like a hacky workaround to run that code anyway, which is kind of wild. Health bar updater. Okay, it's off doing its own stuff now. Wonder what it's changing. Let's see what we get. Katamari songs are starting to bop. I'm also curious why we need to keep setting that setting in Unity for updating to the new input stuff. I wonder if it's being set in the like scene YAML and we're clobbering that each time we write back to that YAML file, because we're not rereading yet when we write to a file to apply those changes. But maybe we can run this, have it finish updating, and then we can test out what it's got so far. I think, we can probably just stop it. It's going off wild goose chase there, I think. So, any compilation errors? No. Let's play. Hopefully our enemies that move left to right are fixed, but we shall see. Not even a little bit. Okay, we said the up-down enemies get stuck on platforms, so they just made it so they can go through platforms, apparently. So that's one way to fix it. And level complete. Doesn't stick around. And are we going to reload the level again? I guess not. All right, so let's go ahead. I wonder if actually they're jiggling left or right, right? Yeah, I just saw my own stream. I bet the like edge collision stuff is making them turn back and forth. I wonder if the range of edge collision is too big. Maybe not. But that would have caused that bug. Alright, give me some enemies. So like here, who are you? Ground enemy? So like he kind of works sometimes. It's just such a jiggly little process. If we move him up, like out of colliding with the platform below him, doesn't quite work. I guess his collider isn't as big as he is. Let's see. Yeah, it's definitely, well, so when we turn off the flag for avoid falling off the edges, he just goes to the center and jumps up and down. Or that. Let's find a new enemy. Okay, level complete. Let's try again. See there, we reset the level again. I don't know why. Sometimes we do, sometimes we don't. But ground enemy, surely that's you. Right. Let's move the player up here so we're safe. And then for you, if we change your edge detection distance to 0.1, it does change the behavior. So what about like 5? I would expect that to, wait. I think it's, are these raycasts firing down at the ground? Yeah. Edit script. Edge detection. Edge detection distance. The raycast these fire in is down. Yeah, they should, oh wait, that's fine. Yeah, because they're looking for ground. So it's finding ground. It should only turn around when it doesn't find ground. but it looks like it's turning around all the time. Ground layer. I wonder if are the platforms... They are ground layer. Okay. This guy is ground layer, but if we turn that off... Okay. Ground enemy, let's move you around. He just goes back to the center of the platform and then jumps up and down. Now why? What in tarnation? Let's put this back in the ground layer. Move speed, patrol distance of like big distance? I mean, it is avoiding the edge as it's supposed to. Edge detection distance probably doesn't even need to be that high. Could even... Yeah, so when it can't detect the ground, it behaves exactly the same, which is telling. Ground... Oh. Ground layer is default. Ground layer, ground. Okay. So why the heck are you just going to the center and jumping? Patrol distance doesn't seem to matter. Right. All right, last attempt. Let's first of all go to our enemy, change this ground layer to ground. It was set to nothing, interestingly. So we just need our horizontally moving enemies now just go to the center of their platform and jump up and down. Why? Alright, last chance, Genie. Check that enemy script. Cool. I see the issue. Let's check the platform layers to make sure the enemies can detect the ground properly. Getting the scene context. Great. So it also probably needs a player layer, but I bet that's all set at playtime, I guess. The problem is in the fixed update method of the enemy script. Okay. Let's look at that. Fixed update. We are moving horizontally. Target position is in the direction we're moving. We get a distance to that. If we made it there, we move towards it. Or if we're relatively close to it, we move towards it until we're almost there, until we switch directions. Yeah, that seems super wrong. And if we're further than half a unit away, then we move in a completely different way, interestingly. Okay, let's see if it can just fix that. Yeah, this is looking better. We move towards the destination, or like move in the direction we're going. And then when we reach it, then we flip our direction. That would make more sense than whatever it was we were doing before. Okay. Yeah, sure. I mean, we updated velocity, I think it was. So yeah, that just need to update to linear velocity. Probably can just prompt to use We'll figure out how to tell it to do that. All right, we reset all enemies. Yeah, I don't think we need to do that, but all right. Horizontal enemies are jumping up and down instead of moving sideways because, yeah, that logic was janky. Original code was trying to move enemies toward their target positions, but was calculating directions that didn't prioritize horizontal movement. They tried to match both X and Y coordinates exactly, making them go back and forth and jump up and down. Okay, let's see. Let's see if this fixed it. I will believe it when I see it. Loving to see it. Looks like it's working more and more for you. We will see. It is still... I don't think it has fixed a single thing since you've been in here last time. These guys are still broken, but like slightly less broken in that they kind of move back and forth now. Kind of. But I don't know how we would fix them, because they are very jankily implemented. I'm unsure. Hey, it looks like there's multiple places trying to update their position or something. So I think we might just say this is good enough for today and call it there. Our vertical enemies work, kind of. I mean, they ignore all platforms. They just walk through them. Horizontal enemies sometimes walk over the platforms to their death. The level sometimes resets multiple times when you start over. Horizontal enemies don't really work, but, I mean, things that work, you can jump, you can move around, you can jump on enemies to get a little speed boost or a jump boost. You can double jump. You've got a particle effect. If you touch an enemy, you lose some health and go invincible for a second. If you die, you start over. If you reach the end of the level, there's a flag that gives you a new level. So there are things that work. We couldn't get sprites generating at all. And we've tried, I think, 4 or 5 times to fix the horizontal enemies. I think you should just tell it what is happening. Did you already try that? Yeah, I've just gone, like, the last 4 or 5 prompts, I think, have been, hey, these guys are just jiggling back and forth. Or, hey, these guys are just walking to the center of the platform and jumping up and down. Yeah, it doesn't seem to have a fix for it. Like basically just tell it everything you're saving now one at a time. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I think it has probably now tried to fix it in a few different ways, and they're all like interacting with each other instead of rewriting it. So like I bet there are multiple things that are flipping this guy's direction or something like that, and it's just not reasoning over everything. So like, yeah, switch direction has 4 references, 4 different things. So fixed update does it when they reach their destination. The ground check does it when they would fall off an edge. Those make sense. Move enemy apparently also does it for some reason. I don't know what move enemy is, but it's also being called, I guess. So maybe we can just nix that and maybe it'll just work. And then also called on collision enter, I guess, when the player touches it. So we did kill 1 instance, so maybe it'll just work now. Maybe. And we made it through the Katamari Damacy soundtrack just in time to start some Tony Hawk Pro Skater 3. Let's see if these enemies walk back and forth. They do not. So I don't know what the bug is. I see what we removed is actually for the vertical enemies, I guess. Yeah, I guess that makes sense. So, yeah. I think at this point I will leave this as a little snapshot. I'll start another project. There's a bunch of fixes that I want to add in, hopefully. Some new assemblies we need for like image generation so we can generate that sprite data. And we'll also hook up the image generation stuff also that could be nice. And yeah, this will be good enough for now. Hopefully next time everybody sees this, it will be more impressive. But yeah, thanks for vibing with me today. I don't think anybody I know is streaming right now, so I think we'll just call it for the day, and I'll be around on Discord if anybody wants to say hi. So stream is over already. Yeah, it's almost 5 o'clock. I gotta eat. I gotta refill my water. I think there's some like fundamental changes we need to make, and I don't understand a lot of. I need to reason about it a lot in my head before I can start making these architectural changes. But yeah, good night, human. Guten Nacht, I believe. There's some good pronunciation, good accent for you. Or in Sweden, god natt. Not? God not. So enjoy. I will remember to stop my stream this time. So thanks for being here, everybody. Good to see you. I'm going to go play Human's game soon. Everybody should go do that. Go check out his channel if you want a link. All right. See you guys. Bye.